Hi, boys and girls. Today we're going to start our focus on a different type of genre in writing. And I know you know about poetry. I know that it's something that you have seen before and that we've read about before. And even in second grade, you've read some poetry. But did you know that it was a writing genre? As we read several poetry books over the length of this week, I want you to be thinking about characteristics of poetry. This particular book, or this particular book that we chose for this week, is called Button Up, and it's Wrinkled Rhymes by Alice Shirtley. And the pictures are by Petra Mathers. Um, Today I'm going to read some poems from a poetry collection. And this poetry collection is going to sound either funny or serious. And I want you to think about that, whether it's funny or serious. Let's start with the first one. Um, Before we get there, I want to show you really quickly our table of content. Just like you do in your interactive notebook, we have a table of content to tell us where we're going to find the different poems. So this is a list of the different poems. And before I go on to our very first one, I want you to look at this list really quick. And what do you notice about this list? Birdie's shoelaces, Violet's hiking hat, the song of Harvey's Gashlows, Emily's undies, Bob's bicycle's helmet, Jennifer's shoes, Joshua's jammies. What do you guys notice about Tanya's old t-shirt or Wanda's swimsuit? What do you notice? Has something to do with clothing, huh? Something that we wear. All right, here we go. Birdie's shoelaces. Good old Birdie. He lets us hang around. It doesn't bother Birdie when we drag along the ground. We're not uptight as our birdie buddy knows. We're hang loose laces and we don't do bows. All right, so a couple of things that I highlighted here. But first, I want to tell you about this poem. Did you notice that this is a rhyming poem? What are some of the words that rhyme? Did you notice how around and ground are rhyming words? How about nose and bows? Really good, excellent. I'm glad you noticed that. What do you think the poet means by hang loose laces? Also, the poem is written in whose point of view? Birdie or the shoelaces? I wonder. Look at this illustration. How does the illustrator convey how Birdie is feeling? And the illustrator really has to take into account what was written, the words written, right? And then needs to create an illustration to convey a message. All right, this is a different one. This one's called Violet's Hiking Hat. And before I start reading it, I want you to notice that I did circle this part of the poem, this part of the poem, and this part of the poem. And I do want to tell you about a word called stanza. When we write a paragraph and then we put two paragraphs together or three paragraphs together in our writing, we're separating, right? Our writing into different paragraphs. When we separate our poem, we don't call them paragraphs, our separation. We call those stanzas. So this would be a stanza. This is a second stanza. This is a third one, fourth, and fifth. So this particular poem, Violet's Hiking Hat, has five stanzas. I wanted to introduce that word to you before we go on. All right, let's listen to Violet's hiking hat. I am Violet's hiking hat. I live on Violet's head. I never take off my hiking hat, Violet said. I'm taking a hike with Violet. Violet's showing me things. Hat, says Violet. There's a caboose. These are butterfly wings. Hat, says Violet. Here's a rock. These are the monkey bars. Violet takes me out at night. Look, says Violet, stars. Boys and girls, what did you notice? Whose point of view is this poem written? Is the point of view of the poem Violet or the hat? All right, now I'm going to go to the fourth stanza. Here in the bathtub with Violet, we're having a storm at sea. A whale, a rabbit, a submarine, a bucket, a duck, and me. I'm going to sleep with Violet in Violet's race car bed, on Violet's panda bear pillow. Good night, hat, Violet said. Excellent. I hope you notice that this poem sounds very different than the previous one, doesn't it? I think it does have in common that the point of view of both of these poems is not the animal, but the piece of clothing. I thought that was really cool in both of those. Each stanza, however, in this particular poem is different than the other poem because it doesn't have the same length. So it's different in the way that the other one was written in one whole stanza, and this one has different stanzas, and all of them have different lengths. Do you know how Violet feels about her hiking hat? And how can you tell? How can you tell? Maybe you want to share with somebody at home. Thank you for listening. Now you can go on and answer the questions on the form. I'll see you guys later. Good job.